Hello, Bobby Torres of Frightbox Recording here, and just for fun, recently I've decided to go back and listen to a few of my mixes that I did way back in around 2007 to 2008, and I gotta say, they're pretty bad. So in this video, I'm actually gonna show you these mixes and explain to you what I did wrong so you can avoid making the exact same mistakes that I've made and get right to producing better sounding mixes within your home studio. Let's dive into it. So without any further ado, let's check out these mixes. Now I have two of them. One is more of a metal mix and one of them is more of a rock mix. And again, both of these productions were recorded and mixed around 2007 and 2008. And for a little bit of context here, around these years, I was producing for around 2 years. So this is 2 years into my producing and mixing career. And let's start off with the metal mix. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay, the vocals kind of work in that black metal style, but listen to the drums, listen to the guitars, and see if you can even find any bass guitar. Okay, I've had enough. To me, that is just straight razor blades. It is grating on my eardrums, and it's just not pleasant to listen to. In my opinion, listening to it now, it does not sound professional at all. The only thing that is decent, like I said, are the vocals. Everything else is straight amateur hour. All right, now let's check out the rock mix. So very similar to the metal mix, the vocals are decent. Actually, I really like the vocals a lot. I still think that the vocals sound pro, but the drums, bass, and guitars sound like they were recorded in a completely different room, and I liked the other room, and the guitars are very harsh, brittle, and not pleasant to listen to at all. And it's hard to make out exactly what's going on. Yeah, not very good. Very, 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 very unprofessional sounding, in my opinion. Now, before I reveal to you the mistakes that I've made to produce such not great results, let's check out a couple other mixes that I did years later. But interestingly enough, I did them in the exact same studio using the exact same gear. So the only differences between the mixes you just heard and the mixes you're about to hear was my approach and the knowledge that I had years later. So up first, we have a metal mix that I produced around the year 2018. I was using the exact same gear, which is a Digi O2 Firewire interface with a PreSonus Digimax LT preamp, which is very, very cheap and very, very outdated gear. And again, this song was also produced within my budget project studio that I still work out of to this day, and using most of the same microphones and same plugins. Let's check it out. All right, so that's the newer mix. Let's go back to that old metal mix again. Yeah, same exact gear within the same space. The only difference was me and the experience and knowledge that I had in 2018 versus 2008 or 2007. And to finish it off, let's check out the rock mix that I did in 2000, and this one happens to be in 2019. Let's check it out.
With me, you're running off like you never could be saved. Breathe for me, in and out now, you're trying to break free.
So as you could hear, the drums are crystal clear and very, very punchy. The guitar tone is warm yet clear. Everything is nice and balanced and even sounding. And I'm using the exact same gear in the same space. Let's go back to that older rock mix.
This explanation
the guitars are atrocious.
My plans try to alleviate your home from what I stole.
And it sounds like the drums are coming from a different universe. So with that being said, what did I do wrong back then? What was I doing wrong when mixing those older tracks? Well, there are three primary issues that I was guilty of back then. Number one, I overprocessed and over EQ'd and overcompressed everything. I used to think I had a magic, snare EQ or guitar EQ. And once I had those settings, I would just slap them on every single source. I was always looking for a quick fix, and I was looking for a template that all of my productions would somehow magically sound professional going through. That's not how this works. Those later mixes were all EQ'd and compressed strategically. The second thing was that I finally learned how to use volume automation. I don't know what it is about home studio owners and project studio owners. I was guilty of this myself. For me, it used to just be sheer laziness. I don't know if that's the case with you, but I was just too lazy to use volume automation back 15 years ago. I kind of knew it was important, but that wasn't exciting. It was a lot more fun to mess around with AmpSim plugins and compressor plugins and try different EQ tricks. Volume automation goes a long way within a mix, especially when you're aiming to have multiple elements work together without them stepping on each other's toes. That's why those old mixes sounded so cluttered and harsh, and the newer ones sounded so pleasant, warm, and clear. But the main takeaway here, and the third reason why the newer mixes sounded so much better, was that I actually tracked everything right at the source and finally learned to edit my tracks. Those older recordings did not feature any click track. Nothing was edited. Back in the day, I would just stick up microphones, rush the band through the recording, and get right to the mix, thinking that the answer to a professional sounding production was mixing. And I'm gonna be honest with you, yes, mixing is extremely important, but it's only a single component of the production as a whole. The newer songs feature pre-production. The bands came in super duper prepared. I did my job as a producer, making sure that all of the instruments were tracked right at the source, and I made sure that the production sounded like a record before I even started the mix. And again, I did not upgrade my gear. I didn't upgrade my acoustic treatment. All of the improvements that you heard were due to my process and my approach and the knowledge that I had 10 years later. Now, on the topic of this, so many of us make these exact same mistakes within our home studios, and then we think it's the gear. We try endless plugins and upgrade our preamps, only to be disappointed when our results are exactly the same. Now, I don't want you to waste a decade of your life like I have, and because of this, I've put something together called my Polished Production Checklist. The Polished Production Checklist outlines my entire approach for producing a track in a professional capacity, regardless of the gear that you're using. These days, you don't need expensive gear to produce professional results. The Polished Production Checklist is absolutely free right now, and you could have direct access by clicking the link below in this video's description. Now, if you're interested in learning more on how you can produce album quality results within your home studio using budget gear, you can click the card above where you can witness me recording drums in my bare garage. Not a studio, my garage. Until next time, happy mixing.